Hi, I'm Knowing Looks, and this is Studio Feed. I've made music kind of in some form or another as long as I can remember, and certainly recorded as a music consumer. Like that's pretty much all my memories. Like can't remember. My parents tell me about these things when I was 3 years old and how we would go for walks along the beaches when we lived in Halifax, and they sort of tried to impress these memories on me, but all I have is memories of the commercials that were on TV, the TV jingles from that time, and that seems to be what's stuck in my head. My memories are mostly, bad commercials for Progresso soup, things like that. I was like a kind of indie kid and listening to sort of mostly indie rock, it's that sort of thing, and I started getting pushed a little bit more and more onto things with drum machines and that, like My Bloody Valentine and Seafeel, and I really kind of liked the psychedelic noise of all that stuff. I was living in Vancouver at the time and not particularly enjoying it, and decided I needed to do something to kind of feel happier with my life, so I moved to the UK kind of just on a whim. There was a student visa working program, so I went over on that without knowing anyone, just basically on my own, foolishly thinking that I could sort of start my life over with a clean break, and I ended up going to Glastonbury sort of within about 24 hours of arriving, and the year that I went, it was like on the bill was Plastic Man, Otekra, Goldie, and The Prodigy, and none of those people I might have known the names from working in a record store, but I'd never actually heard them, and I'd certainly never seen it in the context of 20,000 people up for it, and that was pretty much the resetting of my mind right there. For a long time in Toronto, I didn't feel like there was anything that really spoke to me. Like there was lots of great producers and great events, but it was all it felt very delineated by genre. Like there was sort of, this was the techno night, this was the house night, and the clientele, like everybody was expecting a certain something, and you couldn't deviate too much from it. And sometimes people would come in who would sort of mess with that a little bit, and to me, those were always sort of the most fun nights. But it feels like there's something in the air right now in Toronto, the most since I've lived here, that there's a lot of cross-pollination between things, and there's just there's an energy to me. I don't know why, and I don't go out a lot, so I'm certainly not like an expert on it, but it feels like something's on the cusp of kind of beginning to start here, and it feels like there's more dialogue happening between different groups of people. Hope so, anyway. I'm mostly down here in the basement, toiling away late at night. It's kind of just, I don't even know what my relationship is to it. I love it, but it's kind of like beyond. It's just what I kind of do every night. Like there's sort of wake up, go to work, come home, change some diapers, go to bed, or put her to bed, and then once my daughter's in bed, then I kind of usually come down here and try and spend a reasonable amount of time until doing music and going to bed before the sun comes up, and it's just become so much part of my routine. I don't think about it anymore. Like if I didn't do it, it would feel the same as sort of not having my coffee every day. Like it's just become part of what I do. My whole studio it's all kind of new. There's a bit of old and new stuff. Like this, the Space Echo I've had for ages, and I can't let it go. But up until a few years ago, I owned lots of sort of outboard gear, and then computers just seemed to get better and better, and I never really had a an affinity for analog equipment. It was just sort of all the stuff that I owned, and as I had the ability to recall old sets immediately, it just, to me, that was much more appealing than sort of the possible sound benefits of, you know, old gear. The only thing I've kept, like I said, is the Space Echo, and I could never let it go. I do have a real soft spot for that thing, but yeah, that's it. If you're staying in North America, if you're a North American artist and you stay here, like you have to kind of, you either have to be a massive hustler or you have to accept that there's not going to be, like, you're never going to sort of get to a, you know, beyond a certain level just because there's not the infrastructure for it. But at the same time, it's amazing how small sort of things in general have become. Like, it's, if you do a hot track and you're in Toronto, like, someone anywhere in the world, like, you send it out, if you have people who you know, like, it can be being played out, like, you know, at the best systems in the world can have it that evening. The time between not even finishing a track, between sort of testing it out, testing the waters for the first time with some sort of dub of it, and it being known to the world, is like, there's no time difference anymore. It's bizarre. So that's great. The state of things is, it's pretty cool. It's just, it's a shame that there's no way to kind of, you know, make money at it. And because there's a lot of people, like, for me, I like the challenge of playing live, and I enjoy it, but, like, ultimately it's sort of like the thing that I really like is making music in the studio and just sort of getting deep and really nerdy and playing around with different reverb settings and all that. Like, that's really what I like to do, and I'll do it no matter what. But it's a shame that there's sort of the value of that has sort of been lessened. It's not even the value, but it's the way music is consumed now is so different, and I'm as guilty of it as anyone. Like I was saying, you know, before I ended up buying a couple records. Like, I can't think of the last time I actually sat down and listened to a song from beginning to end. It's just, it's not the way that people do things anymore. It's sort of, you know, you kind of hear the hook, chorus, and then press skip and move on to the next thing. I do. Lots of people don't. I can't speak for everyone else. The next thing that's coming out will be a label called Monsieur Musique out of Montreal. I'm doing a release with them that should be out fall 2011. I just got word back from Boli, who's Montreal sort of funky garage bass producer. He's remixing one of the songs on it, and I'm ecstatic. And then another release with West Norwood Cassette Library coming out, I think, in the spring of 2012. Make music. Do it because you like it. Enjoy. Get nerdy.